Hello, everyone. Hello, if you can hear me, can I get a thumbs up in the group in your responses? Okay. Hello, everyone. All right, so good afternoon. Very happy to be here today. Let me say bonjour to my French speakers. I am learning French right now, but not yet at a level where I can deliver this in French. So my name is Omar Omogefo, and I'm the President and Group CEO of Transcorp PLC. So with me today is dear Roland Foucault, and Roland will be translating for me. Roland, if you could just introduce yourself, please.
Ok, bonjour, je suis Roland Foucault, le facilitateur francophone. Et aujourd'hui, nous allons avoir le docteur OM qui est la présidente du groupe Transcorp. Over to you.
Thank you so much. So we're here today to explore a topic, adaptability and resilience in business. I hope you are all excited to want to hear about this because operating businesses within our continent, and to be honest, the entire world, you need to know how to be adaptable to the various changes that you're seeing. Also know how to drive and build resilience into your businesses. Resilience is non-negotiable if you're going to be successful in driving businesses, and your ability to adapt will be a game changer in whether you're going to be a success story or not. So just have a run through of our quick outline. First, note is an interactive session. The way we would operate is that I'll go through the concepts today. Please feel free to drop your comments and your questions in the chat group. Well, at the end of the session, we'll take the comments, take the questions, be able to have some conversations. I will try my utmost best to take all the comments within the allocated time. Rolo, Foucault?
Ok, donc aujourd'hui, nous allons voir l'adaptabilité et la résilience en affaires. La résilience ne se négocie pas et une entreprise doit être capable de subir ou bien de s'adapter face au changement. Donc aujourd'hui, nous allons avoir une section très interactive. Mettez vos commentaires, vos questions dans le chatbot de YouTube et on verra dans les différentes théories de l'adaptabilité avant de procéder à un partage d'expérience et les questions-réponses. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Foucault. Now, today we'll look at two change management theories. We'll review the change model and implementable strategies will be reviewed. As we had this session, I urge each participant to review on your, reflect on your business, reflect on the environment within which you operate, your country rules, policies, and apply the principles that are shared in here. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, at the end, we'll have our discussion post-presentation. Foucault?
Oui, nous vous prions donc de vouloir bien suivre ces deux théories sur l'adaptabilité et la résilience en affaires qui permettent de gérer les modèles de changement et l'implémentation des stratégies. On va couvrir ces deux aspects-là et nous vous prions de voir comment adapter cela à votre entreprise. Pour ça, on aimerait que vous partagez l'expérience de l'application de ces principes dans votre entreprise et puis on aura des discussions à la fin. Thank you.
See, my French keeps getting better because I understood what you said. Now, going into adaptability and resilience. Quite often, change initiatives fail. They either fail or you don't get the results that you desire. This is not breaking news. It's something that we are aware of. Even for us that run businesses, you have this idea as a business leader, and you're trying to carry everybody along on what you're trying to do, explaining to them, but people are not changing. The question becomes why? What is the issue? What has been found is that, unfortunately, a number of managers, business owners, or people driving change, they look at change as an event, a moment in time, failing to realize that it's actually a process. And one thing we must always remember and keep in mind is that shortcuts never, ever work when you are truly driving change. noting that it is a process. Quite often, we hear people referring to adaptability and resilience used side by side, or sometimes even interchangeability. Now, what has come out from all these conversations is that resilience refers to the ability to quickly recover or bounce back from challenges that occur, while adaptability is your ability to not bounce back, but adjust to these difficulties and then create something positive from them. To put it this way, in the common saying, they say life will throw you lemons, but you are making lemonades. So if you want to tie it into the resilience and adaptability construct, life throwing you lemons and your ability to survive the lemons being thrown to you, that is adaptability, resilience. But you now getting those lemons, those sour things, processing it, putting water, putting sugar, and making it into lemonade that you can sell and make money out of. That is the adaptability in it. Foko?
Oui, donc l'adaptabilité et la résilience. La plupart des initiatives de changement finissent mal parce qu'on n'a pas compris la tournure des résultats. Pourquoi? Parce que la plupart des managers, ils ont l'impression que le changement, c'est un événement, alors que le changement, c'est un process. Et on vous dit le raccourci ne marchera jamais. Lorsqu'il y a un changement, vous devez comprendre que c'est un processus. OK. L'adaptabilité, on va donc parler de ces deux points en utilisant quelques réflexions de certaines écoles. Et vous devez comprendre que la résilience se réfère à la capacité de rapidement se recouvrer lorsqu'on a un problème et de faire un retour en arrière face à des difficultés. Par contre, l'adaptabilité, là, c'est la résilience. Par contre, l'adaptabilité est la capacité de s'ajuster lorsqu'on a des difficultés afin de pouvoir créer quelque chose de positif et de faire avancer l'entreprise. Thank you. Back to you.
You. Okay. Now, why is adaptability and resilience important to business? I had touched on it in my opening remarks, but let's just go through one by one. One, to navigate rapid technological advancements. As we're seeing in today's world, technology is evolving, changing and changing and changing at a pace that is very fast. And every business operator must be able to accept, because you must first accept that this change is happening and then adapt to these fast-paced radical changes that we are seeing. I mean, we've seen a whole lot now with the world of AI, and with AI coming up, there's the positive and the negative, as you'll find with everything new. Two, you have to be able to maintain stability during a crisis. This is why it is important to businesses. Three, help you to cope with changing market conditions. My first point, I talked about navigating the rapid technological advancements. Now, this is about coping with the changing market conditions. The business environment is dynamic, is extremely competitive, and we continue to see newer changes and transformations that are coming up. For look at the banking sector, some years ago, it was still the old form of banking. Nowadays, you're seeing fintechs coming up to compete very strongly with the old-fashioned banks. Look at Safaricom. Safaricom started out, and where are they today? They have driven change so much that they are now creating a whole new business coming out. Number four, adaptability and resilience is important to a business because it determines your ability to recover from setbacks. It helps you develop ability. So it's almost like you are training for a marathon or something. You keep on driving. So as you meet changes or you meet things that create upsets for you, your ability to be resilient and then adapt to fix those things will continue to give you competence that you would need in driving your business from one level to the next level. Five, helps you to sustain long-term success. Emphasis on long-term success. So it helps you understand that I'm not just making my decision for today alone. I'm also looking at the future. I'm looking at the future. So while my business might be successful today, but I'm thinking, would this business be necessary later? Right? With everything I'm saying right now, am I able to pivot very quickly? Am I able to withstand the shocks of the changes? Do I have the shock absorbers to be able to move? And last but not the least, but very, very important indeed, for you to be able to manage evolving customer expectations. If you stay on a business model whilst your customers are changing, you will be out of a business. If the customer's needs are changing, you have to change to follow through with what the customer, otherwise you'll find that you've created a product that in and of itself might be fantastic, but your customer no longer needs it. So if we want to pick the old style of using CDs, compact disc, and to play music, imagine you provide a compact disc today that can carry 1 million songs. Who cares? Nobody is using it anymore. Will it be useful? No. And this point is why adaptability and resilience are important to business. Foco, please.
Oui, pourquoi est-ce que l'adaptabilité et la résilience sont importantes pour les affaires? Nous allons les voir à travers 6 raisons. Première raison, ça permet de naviguer rapidement sur l'avancement de la technologie. Parce que vous ne devez pas vous braquer lorsqu'il y a des changements. Il faut plutôt rapidement se mettre sur les nouveaux modèles de l'environnement. Deuxième chose, ça permet de maintenir la stabilité durant une crise. Troisième chose, ça aide à rapidement dealer avec les changements des conditions de marché. Quatrième chose, ça permet de développer et de se recouvrer lorsqu'il y a des revers. Cinquième chose, ça aide à avoir de la durabilité et maintenir son succès sur le long terme. Et pour finir, l'adaptabilité et la résilience sont importants en affaires parce que ça permet de gérer l'évolution des attentes des clients. Thank you.
Okay. We are all familiar with the concept of the DNA, which is what is unseen, but is the blueprint for your business. What does an adaptability and resilient reflective DNA look like? So simply put, what are the characteristics that you should be looking out for in your organization, or perhaps assessing in your organization to see to what extent have you designed adaptability and resilience into it? As business owners and business managers, business operators, I want you to pay close attention to this because it's what you design, your process, your structures, your policies that will determine if you have adaptability and resilience driven or hard-coded into your DNA. One, how do you make decisions? What are your processes like? Do you have flexibility in your process and systems? A flexible process-driven system allows your organization to quickly adjust to market changes, regulatory updates, and technology advancements. If you're very rigid in this is how we've always done, this is how we will always do it. No, it means that you cannot be flexible. And when you cannot be flexible, you would break. Two, is your DNA one that fosters innovation? And does it foster new ideas to come in? An innovative mindset equips organizations to proactively address challenges. But how do you proactively address challenges? You have to be aware of these challenges. You need to create an environment where people can speak and they can give you innovative ideas, new ideas, challenge the status quo and say, look, this is happening. How do we alter? How do we change? How do we pivot to get to where we need to go to? Number three, is your DNA proactive or is it reactive? By being proactive, you're looking ahead. You're using the data in front of you, the information available to you. You're staying connected to the news. You're on top of what is going on. And you see what's happening here. You say, wait, hang on. Let me look 5 years into the future. These changes that we're seeing, what does it mean? If a new regulation is brought out into the country or the environment within which you operate, you're taking a look at it to say, wait, this has come up. Is there a challenge here? Do I have an opportunity here? Or do you wait for life to happen first before you start running to react? Remember, I'm sure you have been taught in one of your classes to tell you in strategy, first mover advantage. Your ability to quickly read the market and take advantage of what's going on would help you stay ahead of competition and set the tone. 4, strong leadership and vision. This is non-negotiable. An organization that has adaptability and resilience driven into its DNA has to have a leadership that has a clear vision to anticipate changes in the market, as well as create an environment where people can percolate their ideas and talk about the changes that they are seeing in the market. How do you organize your business? What kind of meetings do you have? How do you get ideas back or feedback from those who directly engage with the customers? How do you even engage with your customers to be able to get this critical information, thus allow you to pivot your strategies proactively rather than reactively? It doesn't mean that sometimes when you are caught in the reactive cycle that you cannot still make a change. You still can. But the point is that why firefight when you could have prevented the fire altogether? Number 5, effective risk management. An effective risk management system is critical for organizations to be able to adapt and to also have resilience. What does risk management mean? Again, risk management is about, like I referred earlier on, you're looking ahead in a proactive manner to say, what are the risks that I face within this business? What are the risks of XYZ occurring? And what steps do we have? What kind of mitigating strategies do we have in place to be able to deal with or prevent that risk from occurring? And let's assume that that risk does occur. What is the impact on our business? How do we deal with it? What is our business continuity plan? And the last point, robust communication channels. If you listen when I was speaking all along, I kept talking about feedback. Communication channel being is a two-way street. Leaders communicate to their staff and their customers, their business operators, their stakeholders, and they also get feedback. So what is the robust communication channel that you have in place to be able to hear, not just hear, but to act on what you have heard, analyze it, and be able to facilitate a coordinated and swift response? Foucault, please.
Thank you. Donc, l'adaptabilité et la résilience doivent se refléter dans votre ADN. Voilà, nous allons vous donner quelques caractéristiques des organisations et des affaires qui vous permettent justement d'avoir dans l'ADN de votre entreprise les stigmates pour pouvoir mieux gérer l'adaptabilité et la résilience. Première donc caractéristique, c'est que votre système doit être un système flexible avec un processus qui est flexible. La deuxième chose, c'est que votre entreprise doit être une entreprise qui soit ouverte à l'innovation et aux nouvelles idées. Est-ce que tel est le cas de votre entreprise? Vous devez vérifier. Votre entreprise doit être proactive au lieu d'être réactive. Ça ne veut pourtant pas dire qu'il n'y a pas de situation où vous devez réagir, certes, mais veillez à ce que vous soyez avant-gardiste. Quatrième chose, votre entreprise doit avoir un leadership fort et une vision qui permettent à l'organisation de rapidement s'adapter. Ça ne se négocie pas. Vous devez avoir un leadership et une vision suffisamment claire pour s'adapter au marché. Cinquième caractéristique, n'oubliez pas l'aspect management des risques qui doit être effectif. Est-ce que vous avez dans votre système, votre façon de fonctionner, les éléments qui vous permettent de rapidement avoir des mesures correctives lorsqu'il y a une situation? Ça doit être prévu. Et pour finir, vous devez avoir des canaux de communication suffisamment robustes afin de pouvoir accueillir les commentaires des clients, des employés, de toutes les parties prenantes de votre entreprise. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, we'll go into the models. The first is the 8-step change model on driving change, managing adaptability, and building resilience. Or should I do it the other way? Managing change, building resilience, and driving adaptability. One, on the 8-step change model, you must establish a sense of urgency. And the way to do this is to look at your market and competitive reality and be able to identify where are your major disruptions coming up and communicate same across. Two, form a powerful guiding coalition. This is big English for saying create a group of people that can drive that change that you need to see, that can sit with you to analyze what is being seen, analyze what is coming up, and be able to drive other people to do it. Now, these are people that are typically those that wield high influence in an organization. And you know, okay, if I want to do this, who do I talk to? How can you help me put it forward? Number 3, and this comes from the leadership perspective, you must be able to create a vision. You have to be able to tell people, this is where we are trying to go to. This is where we are. But before you're able to tell people, which is number 4 on communicating the vision, you have to write it out. You must spell it very, very well. You have to be able to say, this is where we are today. This is where we are going, so that people can see where you are going to, and then you communicate it. And you must, in your communication, please use all avenues that are available to you to communicate the vision. And in communicating this vision, it's not about how you think the vision should be communicated. You need to reflect and think, the person I'm talking to, the person I'm trying to communicate this vision to, what is the model that the person will use to hear me? How will the person understand what I'm saying? Is it by having a Zoom call? Is it by sitting down with them one-on-one? Is it by putting things on the notice board? And how do I keep on reinforcing? What are the new behaviors that need to be learned for the change we're trying to do to be institutionalized? Foucault?
Donc, nous allons voir un modèle de changement à travers 8 étapes. La première étape doit être que vous devez pouvoir établir le sens des urgences. Ça, c'est important dans une entreprise, savoir examiner le marché et identifier quels sont les pôles de crise. Vous devez pouvoir former autour de vous une coalition forte qui permette que il y ait plusieurs têtes, donc plusieurs personnes qui influencent et qui conduisent le changement que vous voulez mettre au sein de votre entreprise. Vous devez être capable de créer une vision, parce que c'est cette vision-là qui permet de mettre en place tous les efforts dont vous avez besoin. Et quatrième chose, vous devez pouvoir communiquer cette vision, bien évidemment, à travers les croyances et utiliser la coalition que vous avez mis autour de vous. Over to you.
Thank you. And we move on to the fifth point. The fourth point was on communicating the vision. The fifth point is now empowering others to act on the vision. It's not enough to just say we are changing this where we're going to. You have given people where you want to go to. You have told them what they need to do. Now you need to create a system that allows them act on that vision. So let me take an example here. And I'm using this example because I'm talking to entrepreneurs. And I'm going to, based on my previous experience with working with the foundation, I know a number of people also are into retail business. So let's say we decide that, all right, we're no longer taking payments. We're no longer doing cash. We're moving to a cashless company, right? Moving to a cashless company, and you have taught your people, okay, when customers come and they want to do this, this is how you should do it, this and everything. How do you empower them to not take cash? You have to make sure that your POSs are working. You have to make sure that whatever e-channel you have for them to transfer funds to, that they are working. Have you downloaded? Are you using is it Red Pay? What kind of systems do you have in place? Because assuming you tell people, I want to move to a cashless system, but then the technology that you have put in place for that cashless system is not working, everybody will continue to use the cash system, okay? That was the fifth point. Number 6, consolidate improvements and produce still more change. Basically, what you're saying here is that you're marking your quick wins and you're communicating said quick wins and driving people to be able to move forward. And they say plan and create short-term wins, which ties again into the 6 points of before. Identify those things that have been successful, sing it loud and proud, let everybody know, reward and implement. Then last but not the least, institutionalize these new things that have happened. Change your processes and procedures for people to now be rewarded, whether it's your performance management system or even just your reward system. Use it to celebrate those new behaviors that you want to see.
Donc, la cinquième étape de notre modèle, c'est de pouvoir former les personnes que vous voulez utiliser pour actionner votre vision. On a pris l'exemple d'une entreprise qui ne veut plus manipuler le cash. Pour cela, donc, vous devez vous rassurer que vous avez les outils digitaux, sinon ils vont toujours se remettre sur le cash. Nous avons aussi la consolidation de l'amélioration de la production pour que le changement se conduise bien. Septième position, faire planifier et créer des succès sur le court terme. Donc, vous devez pouvoir mettre en place un plan où, à court terme, on peut évaluer et savoir si ça se passe bien ou ça se passe mal. Et pour finir, il faut institutionnaliser les nouvelles approches. Donc, vous devez faire que les gens prennent sur eux de trouver normal que le changement est quelque chose par lequel l'entreprise doit passer. Over to you.
Merci. Now we come to the second one, actionable steps to stay resilient and to effectively adapt to change. First things first, when change is happening, there's really no point using your head to hit the sand or hit the wall. Number 1, accept the change. 1, accept the change. For those that are running businesses in Nigeria, you know we've had significant changes as it relates to our tax law, right? Is there any point really crying or whining about it? No, this change has happened. It's either I comply. If I don't comply, I face regulatory issues. If I face regulatory issues, I'm out of the business. I might even go to jail because I'm not complying with the tax requirements. So first, accept the change. 2, develop a positive mindset about said change. Positive mindset. You see, the power of the mind is so critical. Mr. Tony Elumeli, one of the things he's fond of telling us, I've worked for almost 17 years plus now, he will tell you that when you have made up your mind to do something, the universe will conspire to make it happen. And I can tell you, as somebody who has been a part of this group for a long time now, that I have seen this happen time and time again. When we even started with this entrepreneurship program, when we set out with the foundation, we're not very clear about how we're going to do what we're going to do. But we had a positive mindset that, first of all, we know what we're going to do. Two, that this thing that we're going to do is going to happen. And today, here we are. You are benefiting from the early days people that have said, we need to get this done. Three, focus on what you can control. Just focus on what you can control. I think it's Stephen Covey, I can't remember which of these people now, that talked about circle of influence, circle of concern. And the example I always like to use is that you have to go to work, which is something that must be done. And you see that it's raining. If you want to focus on, oh, it's raining, it's raining, it's raining, that is a circle of concern. What can you do about the rain? Nothing, not that yet. You can't do anything about the rain. You cannot stop the rain. But what you can do that will let you get to where you need to get to, despite the rain that is falling, is that you put up an umbrella. So if we're taking that concept of focus on what you can control, I cannot control that it is raining, but I can control that I can get an umbrella. Even if I do not own one, I can borrow from somebody so I can go. And you are advised to focus on your values instead of your fears. Watch your fears because they also keep you within a framework, but not to the extent that you are unable to move just because you are afraid. Number four, get a fresh perspective. I saw a comment in the chat talking about partnership. Very, very important. Get a fresh perspective. Let somebody from outside look at what's going on, give you some feedback, and that should also help you. Hey, the buck stops with you. So any information you are getting, you're still processing it. And the fifth point is set new goals. Set new goals that will align to that change that you have accepted as a step one. Foco, please.
Donc, nous allons voir quelques points, quelques étapes à actionner pour pouvoir rester dans la résilience et l'adaptation au changement. Donc, le premier point, c'est que vous devez comprendre que lorsqu'il y a des difficultés, vous devez accepter qu'il y a le changement. Première condition, accepter le changement. Deuxième condition, développer une attitude positive. Elle nous a pris l'exemple de la fondation où elle a une forte expérience. Elle est là depuis très longtemps dans le groupe. Et que lorsque Tony a mis en place la fondation, ce programme-ci, il ne savait pas vraiment comment ça allait se passer, mais il disait ça va se passer. Et il dit souvent que quand vous avez la conviction que ça va se passer, la nature c'est comme il y a une conspiration pour que ça puisse réussir. La preuve, on a ce programme aujourd'hui. Troisième chose, c'est que vous devez être focus sur ce que vous pouvez contrôler. Ça ne sert à rien de vous casser la tête, par exemple, lorsqu'il pleut, commencer à pleurer. Non. Lorsqu'il pleut, vous ne contrôlez pas la pluie. Par contre, vous pouvez contrôler un parapluie, le prendre et vous couvrir et sortir. Aussi, on vous dit, soyez regardant sur les valeurs au lieu de rester sur les peurs. Non, c'est pas important. Quelles sont vos valeurs? Vous travaillez dessus. Quatrième point, c'est rester toujours dans des perspectives fraîches. Et pour finir, mettre en place de nouveaux objectifs.
Thank you. Okay. Now, it's always good to have some case studies to help you make it sink in. These case studies might be something you have seen before, but why not? Let's reflect again. And I'll also maybe just talk about what we are seeing today. The most popular one that we all like to use, Blockbuster. We all know Blockbuster, hopefully. So for those that do not know Blockbuster, Blockbuster is where we used to rent out cassettes to watch films back then, because films were either through the VCR, the cassette technology, or the CDs. As things changed, the world started moving into digital streaming, but Blockbuster did not transform. Mind you, this is a company that was founded in 1985. It became the global leader in video rental. At the height of its performance, which was in 2004, they had 84,300 staff across over 9,000 stores. There's no greater thing of saying I've arrived in there. They had a strategic missed opportunity. Netflix, who I'm sure we're all familiar with, offered to sell to them for $50 million. But the CEO of Blockbuster at the time dismissed it and said, nah, it's a niche business and is losing money. Do we see Blockbuster today? No, they failed. But where did they fail? They failed to transition to the digital and streaming models. And if you look at the timeline we're looking at this, as of 2004, the world had started moving into technology-driven engagements. But Blockbuster did not realize. So they failed to transition. They eventually filed for bankruptcy in 2010. Meanwhile, on the other side, Netflix continues to grow. By 2017, had reached 103.95 million subscribers and a revenue of $8.8 billion. Note that in 2000, they had offered Netflix had offered to sell for $50 million. 17 years later, their revenue is $8.8 billion. By 2024, that 8.8 had grown rapidly to $39 billion revenue and a market cap of $512 billion. What's the lesson in this? Your ability to adapt to disruption is critical. You can't wish it away. You can't. You must look at it and say, how is it going to affect my business? Because no matter how strong you are, if you do not adapt, it can erase you. It will wipe you out. And of course, the early recognition of market shifts creates billion-dollar opportunities. But those opportunities are only for those who have eyes to see, ears to hear, and the guts to act. Foucault, please.
Donc, nous allons voir quelques études de cas. Le cas le plus célèbre comme partage souvent, c'est Blockbuster. Donc, Blockbuster, en fait, c'était une entreprise qui faisait dans la vente et la distribution des cassettes vidéo, comme à l'époque, en fait. Donc, alors, qu'est-ce qui s'est passé? Cette entreprise a été créée en 1985 et en 2004, au summum, ils avaient près de 84 000 employés et plus de 9 000 points de vente dans le monde. Alors, qu'est-ce qui s'est passé, please? Alors, qu'est-ce qui s'est passé? Lorsque Netflix a été créé, on a proposé à Blockbuster d'acheter Netflix. Ils ont refusé. Mais il se passe donc que plus tard, puisque Blockbuster n'a pas suivi la technologie, plus tard, Netflix a pris les devants avec le streaming, la technologie d'aujourd'hui, le streaming. Il n'y a plus de location de cassettes. Et en 2017, Netflix avait plus de 903 millions d'abonnés pour un revenu de 8 milliards. Et en 2024, ils ont fait 39 milliards de bénéfices. Donc, la leçon à retenir, c'est que l'adaptabilité, c'est une disruption critique qu'il faut accepter lorsque l'occasion se présente et que vous devez rapidement reconnaître quand un marché va changer afin de profiter des millions d'opportunités qui s'y trouvent. Next, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would have one more, and I also like to hear from you when I'll read through, I'm seeing some chats, I'll read through, because truly this continues to happen. So let's look at BlackBerry. BlackBerry, once the leader, BlackBerry was a global leader in smartphones, and they had a strong reputation for security and business communication. As at 2009, they controlled approximately 20% of the global smartphone market and over 50% of that market in the US. But where did they miss the point? Where did they lose it? Again, not recognizing the changes that were happening. They remained overconfident in their physical keyboards, dismissing totally the touchscreen revolution that iPhone started in 2007. They were also not quick to adopt or to develop an app ecosystem. Meanwhile, on the other side, the competitors, the Apple App Store and Android's Google Play, they were just quick to attract developers and consumers because App Store is how a lot of these companies make money. Then BlackBerry was too focused on enterprise customers, meaning these are like business customers, ignoring the consumer-driven shift to lifestyle and multifunction smartphones. I mean, look at today. Think of all the things that you do with your smartphone. There's even an industry that has been built off the back of having a smartphone, and that is the content creation industry. Today, you go to events, you see people, they don't need to carry big ring lights, big this, big that. They just hold one small smartphone, and they are making their videos. Next thing you see them, they are going. And in Nigeria, they charge hundreds of thousands. Some people even charge millions for that content creation that they do today. Their missed opportunities for BlackBerry is very well known. In fact, what they now even used further, I think there was a time they even went further. The one thing that they are using to still stand ahead of the market, which was their BlackBerry, was it Messenger that it was called at the time? When they found that they were losing the market, they decided, okay, let us try one last ditch attempt. They tried to make the BlackBerry Messenger something that you can use on Android as well as the app on Apple devices. But it didn't work because if anything at all, it even took away their unique selling proposition. Like the way Apple has, iPhones have the iMessage. You can't see iMessage anywhere. WhatsApp cuts across devices, but iMessage is only if you have an Apple device that you can use it. What was their decline and collapse for BlackBerry? Their market share collapsed from 20% in 2009 to less than 1% by 2016. And today they're totally gone. Totally. What are the strategic lessons to pick here? Customer behavior can redefine industries overnight. Ignoring what your customers want, what they are pivoting towards, is not just dangerous, it's fatal. And complacency in today's world of innovation, beyond accelerating decline, confirms and assures a definite collapse of your business. Foco.
OK, please.
Yeah, sorry.
Donc, nous allons voir le cas de BlackBerry, que vous avez tous connu. BlackBerry, c'est une entreprise qui avait pratiquement en 2009 20% du marché global des smartphones et aux États-Unis particulièrement plus de 50% des marchés. Alors, qu'est-ce qu'il Ils n'ont pas compris que le clavier physique n'était plus à la mode. Quand Apple a créé l'iPhone avec les claviers à touche, les claviers qu'on doit taper avec la main, en fait, tels que nous utilisons aujourd'hui. Alors, ils n'ont pas développé aussi des plateformes d'applications comme Google Play ou bien Google Apps et les autres concurrents. Ils ont focus sur le business to business, dans le business dans les entreprises, ignorant les consommateurs que nous sommes. À la date d'aujourd'hui, vous voyez bien que BlackBerry a totalement disparu. Ils ont raté l'opportunité d'Android telle que vous la connaissez aujourd'hui. Et aujourd'hui, avec WhatsApp, comprenez que le monde va vite. Le marché, c'est tellement ils sont partis de 20% en 2009 à presque 1% en 2016. Donc, ça ne les a pas ratés. Qu'est-ce qu'on peut donc tirer comme leçon? La leçon, c'est que la façon de penser des consommateurs doit permettre aux industries de se redéfinir et ne pas ignorer la préférence. Bien. Deuxième chose, c'est la complaisance qui ne marche pas lorsqu'il y a l'innovation. Il faut rapidement accélérer les changements au sein de votre entreprise. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, we've heard about the case studies that did not work. Let's maybe spend a few minutes talk about Transcorp. As you know, I'm the group CEO of Transcorp. I became group CEO in 2020, March 2020. Worldwide, the whole world, we're all hiding our head by that March 2020 because we're facing the pandemic, COVID. We did not know whether we're going to survive or anything. The pandemic hit us. As you know, one of our core businesses is the Transcorp, as our hospitality business. Our hotel occupancy dropped to below 5%. There was nobody coming in. In that 2020, our revenue in the hotel dropped from 20.4 billion in the preceding year to 10. In fact, in 2020, it dropped to, I think, about 10 billion or less, and we had a loss, huge loss that we're going. In 2020, a lot of businesses were forced to close. But you know something that we did, and I always really, this is something that's always critical. You know, working within our group and as entrepreneurs in the Total Lumelo Entrepreneurship Program, there's the concept of hope. Leadership role in energizing the team and making them hope for the future and see that when there are challenges, you are resilient and you can adapt and come out. When a lot of people were scrambling around, just trying to close shop, do this, do that, we stayed open. We stayed open and we adapted. We're asking ourselves, what are the things that we need to do to stay top of mind with our customers? And we did them. What are the things that we need to do to preserve this facility? Even though it's going to cost us money at the time, and we're not really generating money at that point in time, we did them. And what I found most interesting, when people were actually struggling, am I going to survive? Am I going to survive? We divided ourselves into different groups. You know, we are designing strategies to see how, when we come out of this, not if, not if, when we come out of this COVID pandemic, what is Transcorp going to look like? How are we going to rule? How are we going to, as at that time, we're in power, hospitality, energy, but our investment in power was just one power plant. Hospitality business was just the hotel, and our oil company, our oil energy business was not really doing much. But we sat down during that period when people were running for helter-skelter and they were afraid for their life. Doesn't mean that we're not afraid. But then remember what we said earlier on about your fears should not limit you. Focus on your values. And what is our value? Our purpose in Transcorp Group and across the entire group is to improve lives and transform Africa. We started looking. How do we look when this is over, when they find a cure, when they find a vaccine, when they come up with stuff? How do we build the Transcorp of the future? And that was why when you see that as soon as the restriction on flights were removed, we went on to close a deal in November 2020 with the acquisition of Afam Power and Afam Fast Power. Today, that power plant that we acquired that had 35 megawatts available capacity, today, as I talk to you, has an available capacity of 348 megawatts. We have increased the power generation in our Ugeli plant, which was there at the beginning, taking it up from 160 megawatts, and today is pushing over 600. In our hospitality business, going beyond just the hotel property, we have completed and launched a 5,000 capacity event center. We've gone on to invest in a distribution company, and we've also made strong moves in driving our renewable business and even our oil and gas space. From a revenue of 75.3 billion naira in 2020, we have grown to where we have now, as at September 2025, we now have a revenue of 413 billion. And to put this performance in context, we actually even by Q4, as full year of 2024, our financial performance was 408 billion. So we have so far surpassed. But it's not so much only about the number, but numbers are good because they let you know that you are moving. Foco, please.
Ok, donc après quelques exemples de ratés dans le changement, prenons un exemple de succès dans le changement. C'est la société Transcorp, dont elle est la présidente. Donc l'histoire, c'est qu'elle a été cooptée dans ce groupe en pleine Covid, c'est-à-dire en mars 2020. Imaginez la situation où l'hôtel avait un taux de remplissage de 5%, c'est-à-dire pratiquement pas de clients. Alors, qu'est-ce qu'ils ont fait? Se sont assis, ils ont réfléchi et il y a une formule chez Tony qui dit que l'espoir, donc on doit toujours penser à demain. Certes, ils n'étaient pas sûrs de s'en sortir par rapport à la Covid, mais ils se sont assis, ils ont réfléchi et on a mis en place des stratégies. Les stratégies ont globalement été de créer d'autres départements dans le groupe Transcorp en termes de département énergie, département électricité, département distribution. Ils ont fait des investissements dans plusieurs autres secteurs en dehors de l'hébergement où l'hôtel était focus. Donc, le groupe Transcorp fait plusieurs autres activités. Il y a eu des acquisitions, les chiffres sont là. Et le groupe est passé d'un revenu de 75 milliards à aujourd'hui près de 413 milliards. Donc, imaginez comment le groupe a pu faire face au changement en transformant tout l'environnement afin de s'adapter. Thank you.
I think I've already talked on this, so I will just move on. But again, is that concept of as the challenges came, we opted to be resilient. And what drove our resilience is that purpose we have to improve lives and transform Africa. We continue to invest in our human capital and innovative ways to deal with the challenges that we're facing at that point in time. And so many things were deployed, but at the end of the day, we've been able to come out resilient, and we have grown up now, even in terms of our market capitalization. In 2020, moving up from a market capitalization of below 100 billion naira, today we are almost at 5 trillion naira in 5 short years. That is the impact and the power of resilience when backed by adaptability. Foco.
OK. Donc, comment est-ce que Transcorp a apporté une réponse à la turbulence? On vous a un peu expliqué que c'est de la résilience, c'est-à-dire qu'il fallait faire face aux difficultés, à la pandémie qui avait pris tout le monde entier. Donc Transcorp s'est bougé et a mis en place des nouveaux secteurs où il devait opérer. Malgré le fait qu'il y avait la COVID, Transcorp a continué à investir dans le capital humain, dans l'innovation et comment est-ce qu'avoir de la liquidité en permanence. Donc, comme vous dit on vous a dit, vous devez tenir compte de vos valeurs et non de vos peurs. Donc, vous voyez, Transcorp a diversifié les activités. Et aujourd'hui, au lieu d'être dans des chiffres en milliards, ils sont dans les trillions, quoi, 5 trillions de dollars, dans 5 trillions qu'ils sont en train de manager. Comme pour dire que ils ont fait face au changement. La force de la résilience leur a permis de toujours grandir jusqu'à atteindre aujourd'hui. Over to you.
You. And as we begin to wrap up, I just want to take you to tips on fostering a culture of adaptability and resilience in your organization. One, you have to lead by example. The leader of a company plays a crucial role in defining, stating, shaping, and reinforcing a company's culture. It is not do as I say, but not as I do. You have to show that you are resilient in your own actions and decisions. You have to show that you know how to handle adversity, learn from failures, and of course, maintain a positive attitude. To be able to learn from failures, of course, means that you need to create an environment whereby failures can happen safely. There's no such thing as, oh, you're keeping everything inside. Share in a controlled manner, but let people still understand that you have some vulnerability. People would respond positively to leaders that show that, you know what, I'm not too sure here. Let's discuss it and let's deal with it. Two, encourage learning and growth. Support continuous development. I mean, this is part of those training that we're doing. Encourage your employees to acquire new skills. In fact, with the world we are in today, I say to people, there's only a lazy person that is no longer learning. That's it. Because you have a lot of knowledge that's available free on the internet. Most times what you are paying for is your data. Three, open and clear lines of communication. You must communicate. Let your employees know what you're trying to do. Let your stakeholders know what you're trying to do, your customers. Transparent communication helps to build trust. And when people understand the bigger picture, they are able to have a strong sense of unity during tough times. And even without tough times, they understand where you are going to and how they've become a part of it. Four, please embrace change. Look, resisting change is difficult. It's almost like swimming against an ocean current. So instead of doing that, embrace the change that you want to see and look at it as an opportunity for growth. Also encourage your employees to do same. Create an environment where your employees are open to trying new things. And please listen. Five, promote collaboration, not competition within your company. An environment where you are able to drive collaboration is where teams work together to find solutions. But where they are competing, they will be, so yes, the team that competes and wins, that person is winning. But why win alone when you can win together? Encourage open dialogue, drive brainstorming, divert perspectives will lead to innovative solutions. Please reward and recognize resilience. Drive recognition programs that can give you that can reward employees who demonstrate resilience and adaptability. Celebrate them. Let people know, oh, this happened, this is what this person did, this what happened, and so on. What does that do? It reinforces the desired behavior as well as create positive encouragement for people. And last but not the least, let us set realistic expectations. When expectations are too high, you just begin to have constant pressure. People actually can have reduced resilience. Instead of them being committed to what you're doing, they spend their time actually trying to find other jobs or how to okay, let me just do what I can do right now and go before this Wahala woman or Wahala man will come again. When you set challenging goals, it stretches people, but it should not be so challenging that they cannot even begin to think of where to start or where to end. As a leader, your job is to energize your employees. Your job is to create an enabling environment, foster collaboration, drive innovative thoughts, and let people feel a safe environment. And above all, and with this conversation that we're having, you must be the gold standard for the resilience that you want to see and the adaptability that you also want to see. And I think that is my last slide. So let me hand over to Foko to translate and then we'll take some comments. Thank you.
Ok, nous allons finir en partageant avec vous quelques éléments de culture qui vous permettent d'avoir l'adaptabilité et la résilience. Première des choses, vous devez prêcher par l'exemple. Ne soyez pas ce leader qui dit faites ce que je dis. Non, les gens doivent voir comment vous êtes en train de faire. Deuxième chose, c'est d'encourager l'apprentissage et la croissance en permettant le développement de vos employés et de toutes les parties prenantes. Troisième chose, avoir une communication claire. Vous devez communiquer pour permettre à tous les acteurs de bien savoir quels sont vos objectifs, de bien savoir où est-ce que vous voulez les conduire. Quatrième chose, embrasser le changement. Ça ne sert à rien de vouloir résister lorsqu'il y a un changement. On ne va pas à contre-courant du vent ou bien de l'océan. Non, vous devez suivre les tendances. Cinquième chose, c'est faire une promotion de la collaboration et éviter que les gens soient en compétition. Parce que lorsqu'ils sont en compétition, il y a un gagnant. Alors qu'en collaboration, tout le monde peut gagner. Sixième chose, reconnaître et récompenser. Ça permet d'être résilient et ça permet aux employés de se sentir vraiment part de quelque chose de fort afin de créer des attitudes positives qui renforcent la dynamique de groupe.
Coco? Okay, I think at this point, let me invite the moderator to take us into the Q&A. I think we still have a few minutes.
Yes, we
Okay.
do. Thank you so much, Dr. Owen. We have
Et la
three
dernière chose, mais pas des
questions.
moindres, ça
Okay,
évite la
he's back.
frustration des employés.
Coco, I
Go
think your
on.
network is breaking up, yes. So we have three questions from the comment section. First person is asking, how do you decide when to take a calculated risk or sticking to proven methods, especially with a company with little resources?
To answer that, I would say it's inside the information that has been shared. You either take that risk, you've called it a calculated risk. It's a question of asking yourself, if I don't take this risk, what is the future for me? What happens if I don't take it? What happens if I take it? If there's a change that is supposed to happen and you decide, okay, because I have little resources, I don't want to risk it, I'm not going to change, then your business is going to go out. And if you also recall, part of the one of the things I had shared about having an outside perspective, there's almost nothing that anybody is doing today that they're the only ones doing it. Talk to others within the sector that you're operating in. You have peer mentors. You also have your higher mentors. Rub minds with people. Sit down and critically analyze. But sometimes with all of those conversations, it's a matter of survival. If I don't do it now, will I still be here tomorrow? Next.
Okay, we have another question asking, what are the early signs that a business is struggling to adapt? And how can leaders respond before it's too late?
I think in this one, you would look at it, let's look at the construct of the proactive and reactive paradigm that I said earlier. As a business, you must watch your numbers. Watch your numbers, check the effectiveness of the things you're trying to do. If you find that you're always firefighting, then there's a problem. If you find that maybe there are advancements that are coming up in your industry or the business you're operating in, and you see that you have not caught on, that would let you know. You have to be observant. You have to listen. You have to have a system by which you are staying connected to monitor and see what others are doing. You are watching the ecosystem. If you see that you are not making those changes, or the things you are saying, okay, for example, let me say I'm doing a delivery business and my competitor is now able to deliver in 2 days versus my 3 days that I'm delivering, but that person was delivering in 4 days before. Something has happened that you are now aware of. And you need to go and check it. You need to know what has happened. What's that game changer that I'm not aware of? But you see, if you ignore those signs, like I said earlier, you're hastening yourself to being out. So there's that observation. Is getting feedback from your customers, is getting feedback from your staff for you to be on top of what's going on. And it's not just to get the feedback, you also act on the feedback. Acting on feedback does not mean that you're actually doing everything that you have been told or you've heard feedback from, but you've been able to critically analyze it within a risk framework and say, this is how we're proceeding or this is how we're not proceeding. But a conscious decision has been made. And it's not just that you're just moving along with the current.
Thank you so much. The final question is a bit similar to the first two and very also similar to your experiences during your early days as group CEO. The person is asking, what can an entrepreneur do to manage a period of pandemic? when revenue generated and not handle running a business.
Revenue generated, say that last part.
When revenue generated and not handle running a business.
So with our experience in the hotel, we had to go out to raise funds. And there are different ways to raise funds as an entrepreneur, different sorts of financing that's available. You can get a loan in terms of cash. You can get your suppliers to give you a longer credit cycle. But of course, to do this, you have to have built a trust system with them. They have to be able to depend and believe that if you tell them I'm going to pay later, I'll pay later. You must also downsize as much as possible. Cut down your costs to what is the only cost that you need to do. We did this in Transcorp in 2020. It is not the time for you to be buying big car or running expensive adverts or paying rents that you don't need to pay. You're going to take down your cost profile to what are the things that you genuinely need to spend money on to be able to create value. In Transcorp Hotel, we actually came to a point whereby any spend that we have to do, that spend must be able to track how it's going to create revenue for the company. If we could not do that spend that to create revenue, we would not do it. Why? We were on shoestrings. But that same business that was on shoestrings at that point in time has come up, as our Q3 has done a 75 billion naira revenue. Delayed gratification, so staying in the trenches during the battle, knowing that you will survive so long as you're able to have that resilience at that point in time to go through. I think that's the end of our questions, and we are just right on time. It's a few minutes to 1. Apologies to my French speakers. Foko is not here to translate the Q&A. I sincerely apologize, and I'll keep on working on my French so I'm able to speak with you properly. I do try to understand, but I struggle to speak. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Owen, for this insightful session on adaptability and resilience in business. And I'm sure our entrepreneurs gained a lot today. And yes, we hope to see you next time.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Right. Thank
bye.
you. Bye.
Bye.
Au revoir.
Bye, everyone.
All right. Thank you.